Are you guys ready to get rolling?
We're always ready.
Okay, so then I'm just going to go ahead and introduce all of you guys. Everyone, welcome to the Tribal Environmental Summit Multimedia Projects session. Please welcome Tracy Horst with Choctaw Nation, Wes Davis with Modoc Nation, Modoc Tribe, and James Williams, Muskogee Creek Nation, as well as Judith Carl with EPA. And the floor is yours, Tracy.
All right, let's see if we can make this happen. All right, you have a screen?
Yes, we can see your screen, Tracy.
Okay. Okay. Thanks to everybody for letting me be able to join and share this morning all the information that we have going on. Thanks to Carl. I guess I failed to ask, are we going to run the videos first or last?
Videos first.
Okay. Then I'm going to stop sharing and give it back to you, Chelsea.
Okay. Make me the presenter.
Always full of surprises. Glad to see you're on your toes and can handle anything.
It's the first link, Karen.
It says Choctaw Nation.
Oh, wrong one.
It's not showing. Oh,
Sure, I'll do it. Okay.
Everybody needs a food bunker. It's moving along, but there's no sound. I don't know if anybody else can hear sound, but I cannot hear sound.
We try to use EPA
Yeah.
grants in any way we can. When we were first getting started, GAP allowed us to be able to purchase our first cargo trailer that we were able to use, and then some of our first containers that we were able to place out for recycling collection. We have an EPA Environmental Justice Falls grant that we use for litter and water conservation. So we take kids out to local streams. We clean up the streams of the litter. We teach them about recycling at the same time. And then the school gets a recycling container at their school. And then we can actually pick up materials from them on a regular basis, and we can go back with the roll-offs. So that helps in a big way, and also be able to teach them multiple aspects of water conservation, litter, and recycling. I think the best thing for other tribes to be able to do if they're just getting started or just trying to grow it is don't give up. Continually ask people, when you drive through town and you see a dumpster that's full of cardboard or full of material that could be recycled, stop in and ask and see if you can help them with their trash bill. It reduces the cost for them, but it'll also increase the amount of recycling you get for your facility. And just don't give up. If you one of those things that, eventually people will come around and they may not want to the first time you ask, but if you go back and ask and give them some time to think about it, let them know the ramifications, then, those people will come around.
Okay, so did it lag too much? It was good. Awesome.
Okay. All right, as soon as I can share my screen again, I'll share my screen. Chelsea, it's saying still stop video. And I can't get to the share button.
Hold on. I'm making you back over to the presenter.
Pearl, if you want to, go ahead. You can feel free. Oh, nope.
Okay, you good now? Sorry.
No, you're good.
You want me to wait, Tracy, or go ahead?
I'm good either way, sir.
Yeah, so I've been asked to speak on the video making process, and there were 3 tribal videos that we did for America's Recycles Week. And I'm just going to break that down into 3 fine areas of video making, which is pre-production, production, and post-production. Now, for the Choctaw Nation, the video we just saw, your pre-production phase is your planning stage, right? And that all starts with an idea. The idea was, hey, we had America's Recycles Week. How can we capitalize on that while also showcasing the partnerships we do have? How do we marry the GAP fund and the EPA and recycling all together? So that's where it starts. Then you have some meetings. I got to give a shout out to our own tribal team, Randy G, Selena Gomez, Ira Height, and Alexa Olson, who did all the behind the scenes work and the logistical things to make it possible for me to be able to go out there and film in the first place. Then you want to gather information in the form of interview questions. You need to work with your subject matter experts on this. I'm just the video guy, right? But I don't know what goes into what the funds are used for, how to create a whole recycling center. So you want to make sure, again, you rely on your subject matter experts, like in the tribal, the Region 6 tribal team was a huge help. Then you want to start laying the groundwork for a script. Script is just a guideline, it's a blueprint, but it will save you time when you're doing production and when you're doing your post-production. A good script will have some sort of a guiding narration, not that you would lay down narration, but it will help guide with your interview process once you're out in the field shooting. And you also will just want to make a rough copy on the other side of shots that you want to get, video shots that you want to get. The whole process can take anywhere from 1 to 2 weeks of planning, but just know that if you do everything correctly and right in the pre-production phase, then once you get to production and post-production, you won't have that many problems. So because of the team, because of Tracy's team there at Choctaw, we were able to have a pretty smooth pre-production, production, and post-production phase. So I thank you.
Thanks, Carl. We were glad to have you there that day. And we love the video, so we appreciate all you did for us. So part of what goes along with video is just outreach. We kind of mentioned that when we were going through the process, is how can we talk to everybody around us about recycling? How can we talk to them about environmental needs? How can we make sure that people understand what the earth is about and how we can make it better and why we should make it better? So kind of what I've got just a few slides today talking about some of the things that we've done from an environmental perspective and outreach and education. The picture with the kids there, every summer we have kids, there's a summer school program within the 10.5 counties, and within the 2 recycling locations, the summer school kids come in and tour the facility, and they just have an overall good time. We have some games for them, and they get to see all the big equipment, and they get to see the recycling material. So they always have a good time, and we always get pictures. So that's what that middle picture is. Recycling events are very important. It helps people clean out their homes and their garages and anything to avoid putting as much material as you can in the landfill. So our actual last event was January 20th of last year. So we haven't done any this year. We're getting ready to do our first one coming up in the next couple of weeks, and I'm excited about it. It's finally going to start again. So knock on wood, nothing changes that. And then the pollinators sign that you'll see there, that's been one of our big projects over the last couple of years, and we finally got it together this year and done. So I've got some more information on that. So. Right. For some reason, my screen is not advancing. There it goes. Okay. So one of the things that's been kind of new for us, I'd stepped away from recycling for a couple of years, and when we came back, we decided to make some changes. So we've really never done a marketing campaign per se. And so we have started a 13-month marketing campaign. It started in December. We started with Christmas, knowing how many boxes people get from Amazon and all the wrapping paper and everything that came along with it. We are, for the most part, just focusing on internal sites, employees, but what we're asking them to do is carry it back to their homes as well, so that we can increase the amount of material that goes into recycling from people's homes and from our own tribal facilities. So we created a generic email address, and we've got business cards that go along with that. So you can see that there in the center, the lower center there. That allows us to have multiple people on an email address. So in case someone's on vacation, someone's sick, someone leaves, we aren't looking for just people to send it to one location and then it not be able to get received. You can tell there's 3 different phone numbers on there. So there's the toll-free number, there's the Durant and the Poto facility, and then the addresses for both. The one thing that I wish I would have done that we didn't do, and we'll do it on the next round, is on the back side of the card, utilize that to put the material that they can recycle. So then all they've got is a business card versus a big flyer. Some could argue that it's small enough that it could get lost easier, but it also conserves paper and actually might fit on somebody's refrigerator even easier. So, but again, for businesses, they can carry it around. They can have it right there on their desk. That most people have a Rolodex or something, or used to. So that information is available to them. So out of our marketing campaign, each month we have a different item that we highlight. So you can see the lower left-hand corner, we started talking about shredded paper for that one. We have bins around our copy machine areas so that we can retain that information. We kind of added in there that, not only copy paper, but newspapers, magazines, catalogs, all that kind of thing. So we're looking for all of the different materials that we can get. And then on the left-hand side, we've got a recycle it for the cardboard. And so that's been a big one. We've shared that one on our social media page too, Choctaw Nation Recycling. And then we've got internal monitors that at all of our facilities where these can pop up and just show people. So that's actually what they would be seeing. In some cases, there's also an email address, the recycling center email address and phone numbers and that kind of thing so that they can reach out to people. We have internal emails that go out to the staff a couple of times a week. And so about once a week, throughout the month, they will see that recycle it for the cardboard pop up in that email. So that way it'll also kind of help them remember. And it's all about education. Education never stops. And then of course there's social media and we do that. We are looking at some lunch and learns. We've been a little bit slow to get off the roost on that one to get that one done. But basically what we're looking at is to be able to do some lunch and learns. We were hoping to do them in person. Obviously that hasn't worked out very well for us yet. So we're hoping to do some virtually where we can just talk to people, give them a chance to tour the recycling center virtually. Since it's hard to get so many people in through the recycling center or to shut down services and transport people and that kind of thing so there's a lot of people that work for the tribe that haven't even seen the recycling center. So we're looking to be able to adjust that accordingly too. And then we are creating internal and external training videos. We've had schools that have requested tours and we don't want to give tours. We don't want to get the virus from the kids. We don't want to give the virus to the kids and then have it be all over the news that we were responsible for giving all these kids COVID or anything. So from that perspective, we decided to create some training videos, and they've been kind of fun. We've only gotten one done so far, but we look forward to doing a lot more in the future. So if you've sat through any of my outreach presentations before, you've probably seen this slide. We did an employee contest that kicked off our recycling program 10 years ago. And we did it around a decorating contest for the 4th of July. Well, our marketing group is loving that aspect. And so that we haven't rolled it out to all of our employees yet, but it's coming soon. I think we're going to do a Halloween decoration contest, and again, tie it back to all recycling materials. We do a lot of things for Halloween. The kids come through the facilities and tour it, and they get to do trick-or-treating and everything. So, and we do a lot of decorating to get ready for them. So I think it'll be a great way to get people thinking ahead and kind of moving along that direction, and then also bring highlight to the recycling aspect as well. Now for events, I mentioned previously, the last event we did was a recycling event. We're doing this through EPA grant. The EPA, it's the Environmental Justice Small Grant. We've had that grant for about 5 years. They actually added and re-upped the information. So we're on for another 2 years to do it again. We're funded through the Gulf Coast region, and they come up, and a couple of times a year, they come up as well. And then when we go out and do events with the kids, we try to involve the kids in 3 different ways. We find a waterway where if they're in high school or above, we can go out and clean up a stream of all the litter. While we're out there, we teach them about recycling. And we have 2 separate plastic bags, one for recycling and one for the garbage. And so that way they can kind of learn as they go from that perspective. It's dual purpose. At the same time, we are teaching them about recycling and litter. We are also teaching them about water, and the importance of keeping it clean, the reason for conserving water, and just the impact that water has on their daily life. So while we're out doing that, we're talking about all those different things. So my project officer comes up usually. He brings his equipment, and we do water sampling and water testing, and he takes groups out a little bit at a time and shows them the impact and how they test pH and turbidity and some different things like that, so that they can have an understanding of what all that means as well. So it's been a great event. We've gotten a good response. After we've done those 2 items with the school, we also, that's the first item. We go into the schools and we teach them about recycling. We provide them with a recycling roll-off for outside the school. The grant allows us to provide them with recycling containers for inside the school. And then so we go to the school and we do a presentation for them about recycling as well. The third aspect that comes along with that is what we've learned is a lot of schools have electronics that are either in storage or just stashed away within the building, and they've run out of space, but they don't know how to get rid of it or where to get rid of it from. So we create recycling events. We've started doing them during the week instead of on the weekends. They usually land, as you can see, from 2 to 6 p.m. It allows the kids to be able to come out and help unload cars, maybe direct traffic. If we've got the Look-See suit out there and we've got enough students, the kids will dress up like Look-See, and it's just an overall good time. It teaches them community service at the same time, helps them understand a little bit more about recycling. And it also helps us because they promote it at the school. So our next event is for the Durant High School, and it is scheduled for May 6th. So we're excited to get things going. The picture there on the upper left is Parker Intermediate School, and that was in McAlester, Oklahoma. So that was the last group that we were able to work with. So at those events, we also do tire recycling. Tire recycling has become a big thing for us that we never expected it to be as massive as it is. And luckily, it doesn't take us much time. So I'm forever thankful for that part of it. Because over the last, 8 years, we have recycled over 365,000 tires. So we don't know where they come from. About the time we think the lot's going to get cleaned up and looking good, somebody else comes with more tires. They show up 24/7 pretty much. And luckily we have a spot, as you can see there in the lower right hand side, for the parking lot where they can come in and they can just unload their tires. And then the various companies that come in and collect them just do that. They just pull the truck into the parking lot, they load them up, and they haul them away. So We were able to, through GAP, to be able to start the recycling of tire program. And so that's where the trailer and the big sign that you see come through. We did that through GAP. You can see on the day there in the upper left-hand corner where the sign is, we had an abundance of tires and had to make multiple trips. We'd actually parked the trailer the night before thinking that it would help us the next morning in getting things started. And by the time we got there that morning at about 8 o'clock to get started, I think it was, the trailer was already full. So tires are popular and people don't have a lot of ways to get rid of them. They're horrible about collecting water, and then you've got mosquitoes everywhere. At one point I read where 250,000 mosquitoes can come out of the water in one tire. So the more of those that you can get cleaned up and disposed of, the better. This is the fun one that we've been really excited about. There is a BIA has a Tribal Youth Initiative grant. And through that grant, we were able to do an environmental education trail at Sardis Lake. Sardis Lake is a big deal for us. It's close to our Tuskahoma grounds, and it's a Corps of Engineers lake. And so what we were able to do is we partnered with the Corps. So the sign that you can see in the upper left-hand corner, says Eagle Trail. So that was the name of it. You can see that we've got English and Choctaw language. So we were able to teach a lot of Choctaw language throughout this process. But this sign itself is at the beginning and end of the trailhead. So that's how people know what's coming ahead of them if they want to. And you can see at the bottom, we were able to get the Choctaw logo on there. We've got every sign is the same way across the bottom. So we promote the U.S. Corps of Engineers, and we appreciate their help and their support in this project. We always have the water safety sign and the reminder that there's water there and to always be safe where your life jacket is needed. And then we've always got our Lixie, who is our recycling mascot, our Going Green mascot. And we always ask them to please don't litter and to always remember to recycle as well. The trail itself is a little over half a mile long. So you can see there's a directional sign midway. We created a scenic loop that wasn't there. The trail was originally created about 10 to 12 years ago by the Boy Scouts. Actually, I think nature had created it. I think the animals had made their way back and forth throughout the trail and kind of got it started. It's between a beach and a campground area, so I think there were some people walking through, but the Boy Scouts 10 to 12 years ago put some little tree signs for tree identification. And they have, over time, and flooding and people they had gotten knocked down, misplaced when they were put back up, that kind of thing. So we went in and addressed that as well, cleaned up the trail. So you can see the lower right-hand side where it says Winged Elm. That's one of our signs where we put in to be able to name the trees. The one there in the middle that says, please take nothing but pictures, leave nothing but footprints. That was our way of reminding people not to litter. We put those in several places just along the edge of the trail. And then, so we've got numerous signs like the big trailhead sign. So I've got some of those you're going to see. This being a Tribal Youth Initiative grant, we were getting the kids involved, and we wanted to, one of those ways to do that was to kind of cheer up the bathrooms. And as you can see, I also want to be able to figure out a way where we could get the photo ops where people would be involved. So the butterfly came to mind. And so that's one of those instances where you can stand in the middle, makes it look like you are a beautiful butterfly with amazing wings. And the Jones Academy youth actually came in and have worked multiple days to be able to accomplish this. And they did a really good job. And then on the other side of the bathroom, this is the bathroom that's on the beach. They designed and painted on Sardis Lake. So they did an amazing job. These are some of the other signs that are there. Basically, again, what we want to explain is a lot about nature. You are there, so pay attention. There's snake signs. Some are venomous, as you can see. Some are non-venomous. There's plant signs. There's pollinator signs. The lower right-hand side, you can see the eagle watching location. That's the end of the scenic point that we did. So you can walk out to the edge of the lake there, and you can see the lake. It's an amazing view. And there, the sign explains that we do have bald eagles that nest there. And so maybe if you're on a lucky day, you'll be able to stand there at the point and look out and be able to see the bald eagles flying over the lake. One of the things that I don't have here is we also had one that had like the paw prints, so that if you're walking along the trail and you see a print, you can find the sign and then compare what you saw to the sign and be able to identify what kind of animal was there. We, of course, want to talk about water, the impact, how it works, the impact not only from how the water cycle works, but the impact that it has on Choctaws and what we use it for and why it's important to keep it clean. So again, that ties in with the environmental aspect, but also the education as far as environmental itself. The Potato Hills information up there is some tied in with the geography. And we've got historic signs, and there's just a whole, we did about 40 different signs like this along the trail. And so there's a lot of good information. And our marketing team, I can't thank them enough and praise them enough for what they did. We put together just some ideas of what we wanted, and they just went crazy with it. So moving on to Labor Day, you all have heard about Labor Day and how we handle Labor Day for a long time. We've been doing that since 2009. We did take a break last year. It didn't happen. We haven't decided yet whether it's going to happen this year or not. So, but basically what we started in 2009 was a Going Green booth where we wanted to encourage people to recycling. So the upper right-hand corner there, you can see all the different materials that we were going to distribute that year. We had 150 of those t-shirts in white. We had a handful of the green ones that we had used. And then we were going to give out color books and bracelets that said recycling and water bottles. And absolutely no one wanted anything but t-shirts. So we learned pretty quickly that t-shirts were the things. I saw moms hanging kids by their ankles into trash cans to get plastic bottles, aluminum cans out, which I highly do not encourage. But it worked out to be great that we're still continuing it. And you can see for 3 years there, we did nothing but t-shirts, and we had about 5,000 t-shirts each one of those years. We have added in kids games, and so at points in times when we have good volunteer for the event, we'll pull out the kids games and they can kind of play and enjoy that. We've done Going Green classes, which are anything from composting to aquaponics, any of those different aspects. So those we kind of weave in and out from year to year, and they get good response. This is how we set it up. So we just use cardboard boxes and plastic bags. Anytime you're at Labor Day and you see a blue trash bag or a blue plastic bag, that indicates that it's for recycling. If you see a black one, sometimes clear ones get used, but usually if you see a black one, that's automatically trash. And so the people who are collecting trash know that that goes in the trash dumpster and the blue one goes in recycling. When we first got started, you can see that the guys are out, the group is down there in the lower right-hand side, and that wire cage there, that we had 2 of those that we hauled recycling back and forth in the back of our pickups. So we didn't have a lot. Now we are up to the point of we have anything from 11 to 14 cubic yard recycling containers, like on the left-hand side of the page. And we will fill up and empty 4 to 5 of those per day on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So it's gone like crazy. We've recreated the sign. You can obviously see there 25 cans or bottles combination, one or the other, however you want to do that. And you can get 1 shirt. We have not put a limit on it. So we continue. Some people show up and, you know, they've got singing groups that they go out, and the elders do, and they want to wear their Going Green shirts to their singing locations each year. So they collect them. And we've got other groups that collect them for their entire family, and they get 85 shirts. So obviously all of it doesn't get collected on the grounds, but they bring it from home from wherever they come. And then basically what they do is they line up, as you can see in the picture. We accept their stuff. They tell us how much it is. For the most part, we take their word for it. And then we separate it out, because when you're getting 4 to 5 roll-offs a day, and only one of those is a true work day at the recycling facility, when they get in on Tuesday morning, they have quite the mess to clean up. So we try to sort all that stuff out and separate it so that all they're picking up is a bag that shows just number ones or just aluminum cans, or we do still get some tin cans too, and we don't deny those. And then the turtle with the 3 triangles, or 3 arrows going around it in the triangle shape, that is the design of one of our t-shirts that we had one year. So everybody loves the t-shirts and they look forward to it every year. So we try to find some cool and neat design that people will enjoy. Then we're always doing outreach. So again, I talked a little bit earlier about the blue bags versus the black bags for recycling. You can see we've used just dog kennels out in the general camping areas in different places. So all the cardboard gets put into it, and the plastic bags as well. Again, this is where our EPA tire trailer comes into use. We actually put it behind the cafeteria, which is also close to some of the other food vendors and stuff. So as a lot of the cardboard boxes get emptied or bags get emptied, they could just drop it into that trailer and then we can just cover it and haul it home. So it's a great trailer to be able to use for multiple areas throughout the year. And then one of the requirements of the waste hauler for the event is that they are required to give us poly cards. And those poly cards we put on the lid, we put a sign that states they're used for recycling, and we put the blue trash bags in it. And then we collect those. And at the end of the event on Monday, our staff, which is what they're doing here, goes and through and makes sure they get emptied. And then we take them to a central location for the waste haulers. All right. So Fast and Furious, if you've got any questions, I'm great with that. But that is everything I've got today.
Awesome. Thanks, Tracy. Wes, I'm making you the presenter.
And thank you, Chelsea.
Please welcome Wes Davis with the Modoc Tribe.
Chelsea, was you going to show the Modoc video first?
Do you want to do that first?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Pulse has made huge strides in the end.
Red Cedar Recycling, owned and operated by the Modoc Tribe of Oklahoma since 1996. So been in operation for 23 years, located here in Miami, Oklahoma. There's several other tribes in our county that we work with on recycling. And they have these trailers, and those are set around at their tribal offices. So we're kind of a hub and spoke for those other tribes. There's 6 other tribes that utilize our facility, bring the materials here for us to process for them. We started the program back in 1996. This building wasn't here then. It was originally known as Miami Waste Paper. Opened it up, got it operating. So previously it was already a recycle center. So the startup was pretty simple for them. And we started collecting cardboard, newspaper, aluminum cans, and we currently accept cardboard, newspaper, office waste, junk mail, magazines, phone books, tin cans, aluminum cans, plastics, number 1 and 2. And we process around 80 to 100,000 pounds per month. Majority of our cardboard is collected in commercial pickup. We have 2 trucks that we take out to collect that, and then we also offer recycling for residential. Once we bring material here and bell it up, it takes about 38 bells to fill the truck. Broker, they give us the best market price. They set up all the trucking for us, and then ship mail direct. We do try to keep everything in state here in Oklahoma. We ship the mills in Valiant, International Paper, National Gypsum in the Pryor, and also Georgia Pacific. So we try our best to keep everything local. Yeah, we're thankful that we're able to continue to do the things that we have in the past with the GAP grant. I know we use a lot of that funding for education, which is a big part of it. We also have used that funding to purchase containers, to purchase bins for storage, and we purchased the shredder. So we do all of our tribal shredding in-house from the main tribal headquarters. We do all that in-house shredding. here, and we're able to recycle that material. So those are some things that the GAP grant has helped us out with. We'd like to focus on the education, and the GAP grant's probably 60% solid waste recycling.
It's been a wonderful program for us because otherwise the price of recyclables go up and down. And sometimes you make some money and a lot of times you lose. So this fills in the loss, really. It's one that helps.
Okay, Wes, I will make you the presenter now.
All right, thank you. Carl, did you have some more you wanted to add to that?
Yeah, just after you're done with the pre-production phase, you move on to production. That's when you're shooting on location. When you have your script and your interview questions, just a couple of quick tips for anybody who's interested or somebody trying to make their own video. It's all going to start with a great interview. You could see it in the video prior, and then the one we did at Red Cedar is that the questions are going to help guide the whole interview. And when you have someone, your interview subject, who's passionate about something that they are working on, it's going to show on cam as it had in all these videos. But you don't actually have to stick to your interview questions. Listen to your subject. So you might ask a question about GAP and they can answer it, but they might go on a whole different tangent as well. And then you can ask a follow-up question. Just gauge on what your interview subject's doing. Always do the interview first. I know sometimes people like to get shots, B-roll beforehand. It's always good to do your interview first because they could say something that you didn't have planned in your script, right? So if he's talking about shredding paper and you didn't have a shot of shredding the paper, well then how are you going to use the soundbite because you can't show the audience what the shredding paper is doing. So always be rolling when it happens like that. And sometimes you can get tours of the facility, which is a really good thing. When you're getting your B-roll and tour of the facility, make sure you have your audio recording because a lot of the times the people who are giving the tour or you're interviewing, they're going to be a little more lax and they're going to talk about things that they might not talk about on cam because you didn't directly ask them the question. So you can get a lot of more information that way. Plus, once the camera starts rolling and people see that red button, they can tense up just a bit. So it's always good to make sure you do get the sound bites and that your camera always is rolling so you can use that or not use it when you get to post-production. The interview subjects, again, they're going to narrate and navigate where the story goes. Working with Chief Follis was a great example because he kind of took over the interview from me and he was speaking on about the recycling that were very dear to him. So that in itself was one again for allowing me to come out there and make this video. That we're back. Sorry, I lost everyone for a while. I guess we're back and running, but yeah, Wes, I just wanted to say thanks for allowing me to come out there and film your facility, and you guys are doing a bunch of great work there, and I'm glad I was able to be a part of it.
Thank you, Carl. Let me find my screen here to share real quick, but I just wanted to comment. Can everybody hear me okay? And just give me a thumbs up. I always feel like I'm screaming into this computer, and I don't want to be too loud, and I want to be able to talk loud enough where everybody can hear me okay. But I just wanted to
We
comment.
can hear you, Wes.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to comment just briefly on the whole video experience, and to be honest, you do get a little bit nervous knowing that someone's coming to do an interview and to do a video of your facility. But with Carl and our project officer Ira and with Randy G, they made the whole process real simple for us, and from start to finish, it was a smooth process. And I know for the MODOC people, it was a blessing to be able to have that video recorded, and we've been able to share that on our tribal website. We've also shared that out on our social media, and it's been a good resource, during the pandemic, that we have an opportunity that we can share that video with others, because we can't do in-person meetings. We can't do in-person tours like we've been able to do in the past. So having that video has been a good resource for us. This coming up here next week, we're going to be sharing that video with a class at the Quapaw School District, and we're going to use that video to talk about Earth Day. So it's been a year and a half, maybe a couple years since the videos have been out, and we're still using them as a resource. So just wanted to thank EPA for their work in that, and just talking about the whole solid waste recycling as a part of our GAP grant. Years ago, there was a chance that we may not be able to do those activities under GAP that we had done in the past. And that's another thing. I heard them talking on the RTalk meeting yesterday about the work that's going on in the Tar Creek area, which is, the Quapaws are one of our tribal neighbors. But I just want EPA to know that as a MODOC nation, we're thankful that we can continue to do those things, to do the collection and the processing and the sorting and those things that we've been able to do in the past. Because like I said, at one time, there was a chance that might be taken from us. But I just want to make note of that and to let EPA know that it is making a difference, and it's making an impact, in our tribal nations and within our tribal communities. So I just kind of wanted to open with that a little bit, and then I'm going to talk about just briefly a few of our outreach and education events, and it's always good to see Tracy and James, and as was mentioned, yesterday a lot, we miss those in-person meetings, but it's good that we can put a face with a name and a face with a voice again. So it's always good to be able to get on here, and I can talk trash all day, but I'll try not to ramble on too much. But just to touch a little bit on some of our community events, again, MODOC Nation owns and operates Red Cedar Recycling. We're located in Miami, Oklahoma, the extreme northeast part of the state of Oklahoma, operating since 1996, and it's been a long time, and we've grown a lot over the years, and we're still learning, and there's still things that as from the solid waste standpoint, there's still things that we want to be able to do and accomplish. But I'm just talking about community events, and like most tribal nations, we try to get involved as much as we can. We have good tribal neighbors that we work with, and these are just a list of some of the community events that we participate in each year. They're listed there: the Lost Creek Water Festival, which is a Eastern Shawnee event; the Wyandotte Nation Environmental Festival. There's a local Just for Kids camp that we participate in, the Tar Creek Conference, of course, and then also the MODOC Youth Camp. But of course, just a picture right here of a setup table, and just want you to make note of the little plastic tractor. Some of the kids call it a hot rod. It always draws a lot of attention. We try to teach reuse as well as recycle. So I just wanted to make note of that. But to carry on, these are just some pictures of events. On my right side, on the bottom, this particular event, I think, was the Lost Creek Water Festival. I think we was talking about the life cycle of a plastic bottle. And when you can put a visual in front of those kids, it seems like you can get their attention more. They stay focused, and they were really interested in seeing that visual of the life cycle of a plastic bottle from beginning to end. Top picture on the right is the children's powwow. It's a local powwow event that they have every summer. Something that we always participate in. And again, you know, a lot of times we just pick a specific topic, whether it be the life cycle of a plastic bottle or the life cycle of aluminum can or just recycling in general. We just try to share that information within the tribal community with the children as well as the adults. And just like Tracy was talking about, we do tire collection events as well. We host ours week-long events. They're held twice a year, once in November for the Week of America Recycles Day, and then again in April for the Week of Earth Day. So we're preparing this week for our event next week. Our first event was held in 2006. And it's amazing, like Tracy said, you know, how many tires are out there, and you just wonder so many times, you know, where are all these tires coming from? But yeah, we've recycled into the thousands through our tire collection events. And just to give a nod to DEQ for working with us on those projects. For those of you that aren't familiar, you can reach out to DEQ to receive what they call an S number. And they issue that S number, which authorizes you to host collection events, tire collection events. So just wanted to give a shout out to DEQ on that. One of the new events that we just kind of started, I'll show a timeline of this here in just a minute, but the Modoc Housing Pilot Curbside. And curbside recycling has kind of been one of my long-term goals for many, many years. And with the COVID situation that's been going on and so many people ordering online, there's a lot more corrugated cardboard that's going through residential businesses. And I'm afraid we're missing that. You know, so I'm trying to figure out a way that we can reach out to residents that don't normally recycle or that don't normally use our drop-off facility and just use that as a way of education. So we started this pilot project under our GAP grant back in the fiscal year of 18 and 19. And, you know, it's been a good pilot. Modoc Housing has roughly 40 to 45 tribal housing units. For the pilot project, we tried to focus on 10. And I know that seems like a small number, but we just wanted to try to collect some data, you know, to see what the participation rate was going to be, to see how much material we was going to be able to collect. So that was kind of the focus of this pilot project, was to reach out to a minimum of 10 households. So when we started the project again in 2019, we purchased the bins that you see here in the photo. In October of 2019, we met with the housing director. We talked about education. We talked about bin distribution. We talked about the scheduling of the pickup times and the dates. And then in November 15th of 2019, that was our first collection date for the year. And this is just a picture of the education material. This is what we gave to the residents, just to kind of let them know. As you notice the bins, we had the blue bin, which is mainly for our containers, the aluminum and steel, and the plastics 1 and 2. And then of course the green bin was for our paper. That's anything from cardboard, newspaper, phone books, magazines, junk mail, just the things that you see in that picture. That was part of our education to the residents for this program. And just talking about the curbside and collecting that data. The route, you know, we mapped out the route. It's about an 8-mile route. It took us for about 30 to 45 minutes to complete that route. And the thing about Modoc housing units, they're not secluded in one area. They're kind of spread out. So that was an issue for us, just trying to delegate the map and try to put together an efficient route for collection. But throughout the year, we had a 45% participation rate. We targeted 10 homes. We ended up with 8 homes that were on a voluntary basis, but 45% participation rate for the year. Collected 894 pounds of paper and 574 pounds of containers for the year. So that totals about 1,500 pounds. And to think about the participation rate at 45% and the amount of weight that we collected for just, you know, a handful of homes, I think that's pretty eye-opening for us to have an understanding that, you know, a lot of our education may need to go beyond a drop-off service. And like I said, we're really starting to focus on a curbside collection and trying to make things convenient. I think people want convenience when it comes to recycling. So that's kind of a quick overview of that pilot curbside. Like I said, that's fairly new for us. We're continuing that this year. And so far, the participation rate has remained about the same. I want to just touch for just a moment and mention our tribal partners. We serve as a hub for a hub and spoke type system for many of our tribal neighbors. And I say this often, and I don't want it to not give credit to them, because part of what we do is important, in the other tribal nations pitching in and helping us out with that. I just don't want that to go unnoticed, but I just want to recognize our tribal neighbors, the Seneca Cayuga tribe, the Peorias, the Quapaw Nation, the Ottawas, and the Miamas. They all have these recycling trailers, which you see on the slide right now, and these trailers are placed at their facilities, whether it be at their tribal convenience stores, their tribal casinos, their tribal headquarters, and this is just outreach. You know, this is part of our outreach, and it's, you know, for us, we're thankful that we're able to partner with them on this, and they collect paper and plastic and cans, and then they either bring the trailers to us to be emptied, or we will pick those trailers up for them. But just to kind of give you an idea of the impact of having our tribal partners be a part of our overall solid waste management practice. For the fiscal year last year, we emptied 504 trailers and collected almost 50,000 pounds of material from those trailers. So again, just thankful for them that they allow us to service those trailers for them. And that's about all I have. This is my contact information. So my phone number, my email, just feel free to reach out to me if you like. And I think, Chelsea, I'll just turn it back over to you.
Awesome. Thanks, Wes. Okay. Judith and James, are you guys going to want to share your video first? You're muted, James.
Yeah, we'll share the one that Carl shot for us.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
I'll get it pulled up.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Wes and Tracy. Those are great programs.
We're here at the Muskogee Creek Nation Recycle Center here in Old Mulgee, just north of the campus. And this is the original building that we built in 2011. We started recycling probably about 10 years ago, 2009. And we put that in our EPA GAP work plan, that we were going to do a waste audit and see how many items that the tribe actually threw away, and see if we could get enough of it, garner enough of it to recycle. And after we did our waste audit, we found out about 70% of what they threw away was recyclable. And so then we knew we had to start somewhere. So we started collecting some cardboard and then some plastic. Seemed like that was the bane of our campus, was those 16 to 20 ounce plastic bottles and the cardboard, since they do get a lot of deliveries every day. So cardboard's a big thing to us here. We're able to recycle quite a bit of that. We get a bale of cardboard, and get 6, 8, 10, 12 bales, and it's out the door and to a vendor. We go around to the different office buildings and collect it, different locations. There's some different locations that we pick up at, whether it be a clinic, college, school, office building, and we bring it back here to separate it. We either fail it or gather it all up together, and then we either take it to a vendor or a vendor comes here and picks it up. We do collect from the Henrietta School and the college already. They try to get them in there, and Joe's real good about having some games for them where the kids actually separate stuff, and makes an impact with them. And so I think they set up with the Hogan County Conservation District where they have some events, and we're allowed to set up with them. We do set up at different festivals and whatnot to try to give out some educational outreach on recycling and different items. And so we usually have a bin there and some events that we have. We just had Employee Appreciation Day. We set some bins out there. Well, we've had a good partnership with the EPA and GAP funding, and our GAP officers have been great for us. Through money that we were able to secure through the GAP funding to buy all the blue bins. If you see a bunch of blue bins here, most of those were bought with some GAP money, and that's how we got started. So if we didn't have the GAP, we probably wouldn't have this program. I don't know what we'd have done. We'd eventually tried to get to it, but this helped us out by 10 years. So it really helps us out. So we can't thank them enough for allowing us to take on that venture of recycling. This is what it's grown to. So we're fortunate that the tribe has seen the investment need to recycle and to do the right thing as far as recycling for the tribe. So we're fortunate, blessed to have on board with us as we do our recycling endeavors.
Mr. Carl, if you could talk about the post-production now of the videos, that work.
Yeah, thanks, James. I appreciate it. So once you've done your planning, you've been on location, you've got everything shot, now you got to take it to the studio and you need to edit it. The editing process, for me, it's my favorite part because it's like putting puzzle pieces together and you get to create something that was just maybe audio or video. And you also get to go through hours upon hours of footage. So that can always be fun. The way I like to do it is go through all your audio footage first, go through all your interview footage first, and go ahead and clip that together because that's going to tell your story. So tell your story with the audio first. So, whether it was James, Wes, or Tracy, they carried the whole video, right? They were telling the story to the audience. And you're going to get that with great interview questions because they know the poundage of tires. They know the poundage of cardboard. They know they have all the answers to everything, all the technical things that we're trying to relay to the audience. And then once you get that story with your audio, all you're really going to do, as simple as it sounds, is you're going to take your other footage, which is your visuals, and you're just going to try to match that up the best you can all the way down the line to what they're saying. Also, you want to give them a credit, put them on screen so that we know who's speaking. But for the most part, the story, all it is audio and visual together, meshed and married. Throw a music track behind it, and then you want to brand it. As you know, everyone who's seen the opening graphic sequence of all three videos are very similar. Well, that's because this was a series, right? If they had been what we call standalone videos, they might have been a little different, right? You need to brand it by logos and by putting the lower thirds on the people so you can credit them with the brand of America's Recycles. That's what we're using in this one. Depending on what your story is about and what you're trying to convey to the audience, you might pick something different. And then after that, after you have it all packaged and ready to go, you definitely want to get your client's approval. So, we did send all three videos out to the respective tribes to make sure they were okay with it. James, as everyone knows, is a bit of a diva on set, so I'm just kidding, James. You're fine. So, yeah, so it came back no problem. And then after that, you marketed it, as Wes had mentioned, the social media aspect of it. We put all of ours on YouTube and we share them on social media. And, you know, these were shot before the pandemic. And it's just, to me, amazing to see that we're still getting a lot of use out of them, that the tribes are getting a lot of use out of them. And it was definitely a collective effort from pre to production to post-production. I want to thank again Randy G and his team, James, your team out there in Okmulgee, and you know everyone involved. It always puts a smile on my face when one, you can make your clients happy, which I feel we've done, and two, you have longevity. So again, thanks a lot to everyone, and thanks for allowing me to be here and talk about something that I'm very passionate about.
Well, we certainly thank you, Carl, for coming up and shooting videos for us, and Mr. Ira was with you, and but we certainly thank Randy G and Mark Allen. That whole team down there is amazing. So you guys are so good to work with. So we appreciate all of you at the EPA and Region 6. All right. Well, here's our little PowerPoint here, and I just want to say a big shout out to Chelsea and Karen Dye for helping us get all this together. Judy Osmus, who works in our office, has put this together for me. I'm still out, but she done a really great job. So she knows what she's talking about here when she says the Muskogee Creek Nation Office of Environmental Services, not for the faint of heart. So she's got it going on. In the pictures there, you'll see an old mound. That's from the Okmulgee National Park in Macon, Georgia. That mound was built in about the year, it's over 1,000 years old. So we was going to show you that and then show you our new modern day mound. It was earthen mounds. That's where they used to meet at and to do different various things in there. They used to store food, have meetings. Later on, they were used for burial sites, but that was historic to us, and we thought we'd want to show that today to you. Next slide, Judy. Reservation, it got 11 counties. We're one of the 4th largest tribes, and we operate under the Secretary of Interior, Mr. Jesse Allen, but our executive branch, our principal chief, David Hill, and second chief, Mr. Dale Beaver, which a lot of you know. Next slide, Judy. There's what we get to work with, not only in recycling, but we do get to get out. Man, these are some of the best days. I don't get to get out like I used to anymore, but this is what it's all about right here. Just to keep that clean water going, and so we can save that, preserve that for generations on. But that's where it's all at. It's so peaceful out there. Next slide, Judy. We have an ambient air monitoring that we're doing. It's on loan. We have it from the Cherokee Nation, so we're doing some air monitoring right now. Next slide, Judy. We have an indoor air quality issue in several of our buildings, and so we have to get out and do some mold sampling or some asbestos or whatnot, but we try to keep our indoor air quality in check. Nice. Next slide, Judy. Our water quality is real big where we're at. We've been using some drones here lately to see the inflow on some of the different creeks and lakes and stuff. And as you can see on the one drone picture right there, you can see where the effluent is coming into that body of water. We do have some kayaks that we get out on and sample our water on, and then we take a top shot with our drone. So that's really worked out real good. You really don't notice it just looking straight out into the water until you get on top of it. So that's really came out real good. And our guys that get out there in the water are just some super guys. Next slide, Judy. We do have a problem in the Muskogee Creek Nation with some illegal dumping. Our dump sites are they're quite numerous, and they have different items in them. We're trying to get a remediation plan going where we can start cleaning some of those up, and we have several on our list that are on the STARS website with IHS, and that's our next big plan is to clean up several of these dump sites. Next. We do have, along with our recycling, we do have a solid waste department, and so these guys put the roll-off boxes out different places, and they've got some equipment that we can use to clean up those sites. We're just trying to get them approved, and then we'll go back and clean those sites up. These guys have been doing this. We provide roll-off boxes to our ceremonial ground and churches and different events, and it's worked out really well for us. It's Cameron and Quentin right there. Okay, this is our recycle center. These are some of the other guys that work at the recycle center. It's like I said, we've been in operation for 10 years now. And so as soon as we built that place, we built it too small. And so we don't have a lot of the storage space that Mr. West and Miss Tracy has. So we're shuffling ours out pretty quick. We take a lot of ours to National Waste Collection in Tulsa and sell a bunch of cardboard. Next slide, please. Our last Earth Day was a curbside event. We had that last year, and so we had everybody masked up and gloved up, and took a bunch of e-waste that day. And as you can see on the one line there, they had all the cars stretched out for a couple blocks. Anytime the chief comes over, the second chief comes over, they happen to bring media with them. So, you know, if chief's coming, he's got his media coming, and we get some mileage out of that. Just like we've been getting Carl mileage out of that video still. So we're just thankful for that. I'll put this floppy hat on twice a year and go out there and do my little part. We bring in a big shredding truck, and it's a good event. We do collect some tires and whatnot. So, but it's those are some big events. We do Earth Day, just like Wes, and do the National Recycle Week also in November. Next slide, please. There's some more National Recycle Day, and man, those tires pile up. I'm not kidding you. I don't know where they come from either, but boy, they come from all over. We do have cameras on our building, and people just bring them at night too. We watch them drop them off and go through them and see if they're looking for a certain specific tire, but they accumulate quicker. We do have an S number. Not only do we collect them on those 2 dates, but it seems like we collect them year round anymore. So that's a good thing. At least they're not going in a creek or a waterway or like Tracy was saying, collecting mosquitoes somewhere. So that's worked out pretty good for us. Energy efficiency is real big at the tribe right now. That's our college there that we have, which is really energy efficient. They have the ground source geothermal all through their parking lot. They've got it in the parking lot where they are able to hook on as the buildings come on. In the lower part of it, that's our big center where we have the gym and whatnot. And those are LED lights. If you notice the fan in the middle, those are those BAFs, and we call those big ass fans because those fans are so big that we just have 4 of them in there, and that pretty much will circulate the heat and air pretty good. We have some SIP panels that we built some houses with. There's a recycled building there. We tore down an old building, and we used the steel from it, and we used the SIP panels basically to build that. So we call that our recycled building. So we recycle some buildings, and that's our WIC building right there. Next slide, please. Some pollinator waste stations that we're involved with. We do some around the tribe. We're trying to get some more in. We work with the National Wildlife Center out there. We do some events with them out there, and that's really a good thing. We're just trying to get some more put in. We have a rain garden over there by our light horse, which catches some runoff from the different parking lots, and then it filters through to the creek. Next slide, Judy. Community gardens that seem to have taken off. the recycle guys build those raised garden bed and flower beds for the elderly. We have elderly complex behind our building, and they're all into planting and harvesting their own plants that they have grown, and that's really taken off this year. So it's been pretty good. Next slide, please. Well, there you go. That's one of my Christmas pictures. I usually dress up as something for Christmas. I guess I don't know what that was that year, but it was good. But I just want to say a big shout out to the EPA, Wes and Tracy. You guys are rocking it out. And so if you guys need some more information on any of our programs, just give me a call there at 918-549-2580. I got to give a shout out to Judy Osmus, who put this together for me while I'm still out, and I certainly appreciate it. And appreciate Cherokee Nation for helping us out also. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Always a pleasure, Bad Santa.
Bad Santa.
Thank you, James and Judith. Do you guys want to answer any questions? We may have a couple in the chat box if you guys want to answer a few.
Sure.
Okay, so it looks like the most recent ones from Tammy. How many compactors do you guys use?
We just have two. We have one for cardboard, and we use the other one for the shredded paper and some plastics. I know Tracy and Wes may have some more.
There's also a question. I'm not sure who this was to. It was earlier on, so I'm guessing it was Tracy. What do the companies do with the tires?
She already answered.
Oh, did she already answer that? Okay.
Yeah.
Other than that, I'm not seeing a whole lot of questions. So if anything pops up though on my end, I'll share it with the panelists and get those answered for you guys. So other than that, thank you guys so much for presenting for us today. Really appreciate it. As always, and our next session will be at 2:00, and it will be the solid waste and recycling.
All right.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Everybody.
Thank you. Thank
Bye.
you, Carl, Wes, Tracy, Chelsea,
Thank you.
Karen.
Thanks, everyone. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Karen.
Thank you, Karen.